Hello? Hello? Anyone? Please respond. Am I audible? Only 15 participants are there. We have to wait for a few minutes to start the session. Students are joining slowly. Now the count is 26. The students, please be patient. Only 30 students are there. Both the B section students are requested to join the online sessions, online classes. Only 36 and to 40, around 40 members are joining for online classes. It's too low. Now, request all to come to sessions regularly without fail. Okay, my dear students, now I'm starting the session. Am I audible to you? Anyone please respond by unmuting yourself. Dear students, please respond. Anyone? Am I audible to you? Can you see the screen? Can you
Yes,
see,
sir.
can you see the screen? Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Starting the session now. I'm unmuting you all. Muting you all. Okay. Right. Today, in the yesterday class, I already completed the linear measuring instruments, okay, up to slip gauges, linear calipers, micrometers, and slip gauges are completed up to earlier class. Now, today we are going to discuss about dial indicator or dial gauges. These are very precision and accurate instrument used in the measurement industry, that is metrology. Okay, you may call it as a dial indicator or dial gauge. Simply it indicates the any change. Okay, on the dial with a pointer. If you observe clearly here, the completed dial gauge, the dial indicator is having a circular dial, graduated. Okay, the least count of this dial indicator is 0.01. Here there exists one more dial inside, one more dial inside here, one more indicator is there, and the small indicator pointer. Okay, we'll discuss later what are the major dial, what is a smaller dial. Now, what is meant by dial indicators, first of all? Okay, dial indicators are basically used for making and checking linear measurements. Okay, simply it is a linear measuring instrument. It can be used for measuring the length or setting the length, making the length, right? It is based on mechanical means such as gears and pinions or lever for magnification. In this case, mechanical means, okay, use that is gears and pinion or lever mechanisms are used in order to amplify, okay, the reading, in order to amplify the change. Okay, this device measures small linear distances that are important in the establishment of precision and accuracy. So it is used for, okay, measuring small linear distances. Okay, that is the basis for precision and accuracy. These are the very precision and accurate instruments. Suppose if you go for the lathe machines, on the lathe machine, okay, but you have to identify the flatness or straightness. In order to check the straightness, flatness, these dial indicators are used. Okay, in order to, okay, measure the small variations on the surface of the bed. Okay, so completely the dial indicators are based on gear and pinion mechanisms, lever for magnification. Right. Coming to classification of dial indicators, there are two basic types, that is plunger type and a lever type. Okay, the plunger type is most commonly used because of its compact design and the measurement, ease of measurement. Okay, the main scale is graduated into equal divisions corresponding to 0.01 mm. Okay, movement of the plunger. Right. If you go for the second dial, smaller dial is there, that is meant for counting number of revolutions made by the larger pointer in the outer dial. Okay. Two dials are there in this dial indicator made by the larger pointer, larger dial, right? What are the main components of dial indicators? Observe here, the picture is there inside a small indicator dial is there. It is number of revolutions. Okay, when of inside the plunger is there. Plunger is having contact point at it into contact with the part when the dimension are checked. Right here, this case. You observe here circular dial body, round graduated dial, pointer, gear train. Inside there is a gear train. You will see in the next slide. Lever, this is a lever on plunger. Okay, right. Next. This is the complete construction of a dial indicator. If you observe here, number of components are there. Here, graduated scale, circular graduated scale is there. Completely, if you observe outside, this is circular graduated scale. It is from 0 to maximum 100. Okay, each one is 0.01 amp. Right. Here, smaller pointer indicating hand, this one is, and this is the stem and the spindle contact point, circular body, revolution counter, right? Bezel. Bezel means nothing but in order to set your indicator to 0, okay, this bezel is the simply outer frame to the circular dial. This can be simply rotated to the required position using this bezel. Okay, this is the bezel clamp in order to lock in its position. Here, inside of this dial indicator, there exists a gears and pinion arrangement. This complete arrangement meant for magnifying the displacement, smaller displacements or smaller changes. Okay. Here, rack, gear train, hairspring, and rack guide is there. Okay. We'll see the complete working of a dial indicator on the next slide. Okay. Principle of operation. The complete dial indicator works on rack and pinion arrangement. Okay, in this case, if you observe the internal parts of this dial indicator, it consists of plunger. Yes, this is the plunger, the vertical bar. It is a plunger. It is having a contact point at the end. And at the other end, okay, there exists a threading, that is a screw. Simply threads are there. That is a linear screw. You can call it as a linear screw. All right. This is called as a rack. This is called as a rack. And this rack is in turn measured with the pinion. Simply it is a smaller gear. It is having number of teeth on its surface. Okay. This rack in turn measured with the pinion. Again, the pinion and the gear are mounted on the same shaft. On the same shaft. So these are called internal gears. This pinion and gear. This one is the gear and pinion or internal gears. Next, coming to this gear and pinion here, the larger gear, this one, the larger gear is simply measured with the pinion on another shaft. Here, the smaller pinion, okay, it is measured with the larger gear, this one. Okay. Next, again, okay. If you observe this larger gear here, this larger gear, again, it is measured with this gear. Okay. This gear and the smaller pinion are simply mounted on the same shaft. Okay, here on this pinion, simply to this pinion, okay, shaft, the pointer is attached. Pointer is mounted on this pinion. Right. Again, this outer gear, this gear is simply measured with this gear. Okay, number of gears are there here. Again, to this gear, one hairspring is attached. Hairspring is attached. You observe here, one coil spring is also provided here, right? Okay. Smaller variations on the surface. If you want to measure the variations in the surface in order to check the flatness or straightness or parallelism, in all the cases, we're going to use the indicators. Suppose if you want to check the flatness of a bed, in that case, simply you are going to place the tip of the indicator on the surface and you are simply sliding it on the surface of the work part. When you slide this dial indicator on the surface of work part, if there exist any variations or imperfections on the surface, those are due to variations in its surface. Because of variations at the bumps, this plunger simply will deflect up and down. Simply this plunger will move up and down. Suppose if you assume the plunger is deflecting in the upward direction, moving in the upward direction. Okay, when it slides, for a small side, when the contact point is moving on the work part, when the plunger is moving upward, the moving plunger, okay, because of the meshing between rack and pinion, the upward motion of this rack is simply transmitted to the pinion, which is meshed with it. Okay, right? Because of the rack movement in the upward direction, this pinion simply rotates in the anti-clockwise direction. This pinion, smaller pinion, observe clearly here, the smaller pinion, simply it is rotated in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, here the pinion and this gear are mounted on the same shaft. Those are internal gears. So automatically the gear also, okay, rotate in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, again, this gear is in turn, it is connected with the pinion on another shaft. Okay, okay, because of rotation of this larger gear, okay, it rotates the pinion. Okay, but the gear is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. The larger gear is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. Here, this pinion and the larger gear, smaller pinion and larger gear are external gears. Therefore, this pinion will rotate in clockwise direction. Okay, when the when this gear is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, okay, the pinion which is messed with the gear simply rotate in clockwise direction because of external gears. Okay, right. When the pinion is rotating in the clockwise direction like this, okay, here this gear and the pinion are mounted on the same shaft. Therefore, this gear also rotates in the clockwise direction. Okay, if you observe this larger gear, it is moving or rotating in the clockwise direction, is again measured with this gear, this larger gear. Okay, here these two are again external gears. Therefore, the clockwise rotation of this gear is simply converted to anti-clockwise rotation of this gear. Okay, if you observe, this gear is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, again here small, okay, pinion is there. On this, simply pointer is mounted. Okay, if this gear is rotating in anti-clockwise direction, the pointer which is mounted on this shaft is again rotated in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, on the dial in order to represent the, okay, variation or the small displacement which is sensed at the contact point. The small upward displacement sensed at this contact point is simply converted to, okay, indicator rotation, converted to indicator. Simply indicator is, or pointer is rotated on the dial to represent the, okay, reading or deflection or displacement. Okay, right? Again, this dial in the, sorry, indicator is rotated dial in order to represent the reading. Okay, again, here this gear is measured with this. There is a gear. It is again measured with this one. These two are again external gears. Here, this gear is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. It rotates this gear in the clockwise direction. Again, this gear is having a hairspring. Okay, simply the energy, because of rotation of this gear, the energy is stored in the spring. Okay, after indicating the reading, again the pointer has to come back in order to bring the indicator or the pointer to return to its initial position. The energy stored in the hairspring is utilized. Okay, that energy stored in the hairspring simply, okay, brought the pointer to its initial position. For that reason, here this hairspring is provided. Hairspring is provided. Okay. Next, what is the purpose of this coil spring? If you observe here, one coil spring is provided. This coil spring always try to maintain the contact between the plunger and the work part. Always try to maintain the contact between plunger and the work part at contact point. Okay. Initially, initially when it is moving on the surface, because of variations on the surface, simply the plunger is lifted upward. When it is moving upward, okay, simply it loses the contact. But this coil spring always try to, okay, bring back this plunger in contact with the work part. Okay. So like this, because of this rack and pinion and multiple gears, by using this multiple gears and pinions, Here, the small displacement at this contact point is gets magnified and it is indicated on the dial indicator. So small variations on the surface of the work part are simply sensed by the dial indicator and indicated by the pointer on its dial. So for this reason, these number of gears, larger and smaller gears like pinion and gears and rack and pinion system, rack and pinion mechanism is used in this case in order to take the advantage, that is mechanical advantage, in order to magnify the smaller variations on the surface of a work part. Okay, this is all about working of the dial indicator. Okay, listen carefully. I will explain once again in the next slide. Okay, here, let's just laugh. Whenever, if an curvature, curved part, okay, up and down surface is there at the bottom of this contact point, when the contact point is simply moving or sliding on the work part because of variations in the work part, this contact point will move up. When it is moving upward, the plunger gets lifted. Okay, the upward moving plunger simply rotates the pinion because the plunger is having rack. Rack is measured with the pinion. Therefore, this pinion is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. Along with this pinion, the gear is also rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Again, this larger gear is in contact or measured with the smaller pinion on the another shock. Therefore, it is rotating in the clockwise direction, in this direction. The smaller pinion rotates in the clockwise direction. Okay, along with the smaller pinion, again, this gear is also rotating in the clockwise direction because those two are mounted on the same shaft. Those are internal gears. Okay, right. Coming to this position, here the larger gear is measured with this gear. Okay, it is moving, it is rotating in the clockwise direction, means it rotates this gear in the anti-clockwise direction. Again, this anti-clockwise rotating gear simply rotates the pointer in anti-clockwise direction. Simply, this pointer is rotated in anti-clockwise direction, okay, in order to represent the variation in the surface on the dial. Okay. Finally, this hairspring and this gear, this setup is used for, okay, bring back this pointer to its initial position. Again, this coil spring is meant for, okay, maintaining the contact between maintain the contact between this plunger end point and the work part here, right? Okay, this is all about working of dial indicators. This is plunger type dial indicator. Specifically, it is the plunger type dial indicator, right? Detailed classification is there, okay, for dial indicators based on their size, connection method, and the type of information featured on their surface. Based on the information featured on the surface, the size, and the connection method. Okay, variety of dial indicators are available. Okay, if you see in this slide, okay, there are 7 dial indicators are there. First one is balanced reading dial indicators. Second, continuous dial indicators. Third one, reversed balanced dial indicators. Fourth one, reversed continuous dial indicators. Fifth one, test dial indicator. Sixth one, plunger dial indicator. And seventh one, lever dial indicator. If you observe here, this is balanced reading dial indicator. This is the third one is reversed balanced dial indicator. If you observe the second one, continuous dial indicator, observe the fourth one, reverse continuous dial indicator. There is a similarity. Okay, this test dial indicators, plunger dial indicators, and lever dial indicators. We'll discuss, okay, in the coming slides, all about these dial indicators. Okay, first one, balanced reading dial indicator. If you observe here on the dial, okay, on the dial, here the markings, okay, markings are there from here the right side 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, again left side 10, okay, readings are simply marked and the left side simply negative. Okay, if you observe here, figures are positive figures are to the right and negative figures are to the left. So if you observe, figures are printed upon the face of this dial running in 2 directions. Okay, simply the dimensional figures are marked in 2 directions, in the clockwise direction and in the anti-clockwise direction. If you go for clockwise direction, on the right side, it is positive figures. If you go on the left side in anti-clockwise direction, okay, this is negative figures are marked. So on both sides, Figures are printed upon the face of this dial, running in two directions, starting from a 0 in the center. Here, 0 in center is positive direction, negative direction. Positive numbers are featured to the right part, right half part. Okay, here the positive numbers are marked, and to the left part, negative numbers are marked. This is called balanced reading dial indicators. In case of balanced reading dial indicators, simply figures are marked to the right and left. Okay, by maintaining the balance. Okay, positive readings or markings are simply represented on right side, and negative. Okay, figures are marked on the left side. This is balanced reading dial indicator. Next, you observe here, a smaller indicator is there. This is meant for counting the number of revolutions made by the larger pointer. But the larger pointer completes one revolution. The smaller pointer simply moves to one location. That means it indicates one revolution. Simply number of revolutions made by the larger pointer is counted by the smaller pointer in order to ensure the accurate total reading. Right. Continuous dial indicators. Okay. On the previous slide, we discussed about balanced reading dial indicators. Here, half watt is positive, half watt is negative. But in the second case, continuous dial indicators, here the figures are marked continuously without any break, without any break. 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Dial indicators do not have the two sets of numbers featured on the balanced reading dial indicators. If you observe here, the figures on this type of dial indicators run in one direction only, in the clockwise direction. Okay, without stopping and without any type of separation. Okay, figures simply run in one direction continuously without any break. This is continuous dial indicator. Right. Next, go for reversed balanced dial indicators. You go for reversed balanced dial indicators. It is balanced. That means it consists of right word and a left word. Okay, markings, that is positive and negative. But observe the change here. The picture is shown positive, negative, but actually the positive plus is in this side, negative comes to this side. Okay. Reversed balanced dial indicators are named because they have the same basic positive and negative scales to each other as that of balanced dial indicators. Balanced dial indicators. But the positive figures are to the left and the negative figures are to the right. But if you observe this picture, this positive again represented to the right. Therefore, this positive to be here and the negative to be here. On the right side, negative figures are marked. On the left side, positive figures are marked. Okay, that is the reason why it is called reversed balanced dial indicator. In case of balanced dial indicators, positive figures are to the right and negative figures are to the left. But in case of reversed balanced indicators, okay, negative figures are to the right and positive figures are to the left. But in the dial, positive is given to the right. There is a correction. This plus is to be here and minus to be here. Okay, right. Again, in all the indicators, there exists okay, revolution counter, right? Next one is reversed continuous dial indicators. It is same as that of continuous dial indicators, but the figures are marked in the opposite direction, reverse direction. So if you observe here 0, 10, it is here the figures are okay increasing in the anti-clockwise direction, But in case of continuous dial indicators, if you observe continuous dial indicator here, okay, the figures are running in the clockwise direction, Okay, but here the figures are simply running in the anti-clockwise direction. That is the reason why it is called reversed continuous dial indicator. Okay, numbers run in the opposite direction. Right. Coming to plunger dial indicator. In the beginning, we discussed all about the plunger type dial indicator, its working mechanism. Okay, that is the case of plunger type dial indicator. Here there exists a plunger. Okay, the plunger is in turn connected with this pointer with the rack and pinion mechanism. Okay, that mechanism meant for magnifying the smaller displacement or smaller variation at the tip of the plunger. Okay, simply magnified and simply indicated on the dial. Okay, so the mechanism which allows this type of dial indicator work is the rack and pinion mechanism, which changes the linear thrust of the plunger, linear thrust of the plunger into rotary motion of the pointer on the dial. Okay. Very important. These plunger time indicators are very important. Right. Next, lever dial indicators are also available. Those indicators are also used widely. Okay, because of compactness and simplicity in use. Okay. Okay, if you observe here, this type of dial indicators are more compact and easier to use than plunger type dial indicators and are therefore quite often used. Lever dial indicators are characterized by their lever and scroll mechanisms. Here inside there is a lever and is connected with the stylus. This is called the stylus. This stylus simply, okay, run on the work part to be measured. Work part to be measured. Okay, this tip, the spherical shaped tip is simply comes in contact with the work part to be measured. Okay, the movement, okay, sensed at this okay, spherical shape point tip is simply conveyed to the lever inside. The lever again simply transfer its movement to the scroll. Again, on the scroll, the pointer is connected. So based on this lever and scroll mechanism, the pointer is simply rotating on the dial to represent the reading, which is sensed at the stylus. This is called this part from here to here. From here to here, this is called stylus. From here to this point internally, there exists a lever, and lever is again connected with scroll nothing but simply a screw. Okay, simply the upward movement, the variation in the lever is simply transmitted to the scroll. Again, the scroll, when the scroll is rotating, okay, in turn the scroll is connected with the pointer. The pointer also rotates along with the scroll. But in this case, if you observe clearly on the dial, the revolution counter is not there. Revolution counter is not there. Why? Because this lever mechanism simply rotate the scroll only for one half of revolution, one half only. Therefore, no need to no need to provide the revolution counter in this case. That is omitted for lever dial indicators. But in case of plunger dial indicators, always in all the types there exist revolution counter. Okay, simply the lever dial indicator works on lever and scroll mechanisms. Lever and scroll mechanism, right? Applications of dial indicators. Okay, these are used for comparing two heights or distances between narrow limits. Okay. Suppose if you want to check the flatness of work part, simply you are moving the probe. Okay, the tip of the dial indicator, okay, on the surface which is to be measured. Okay, when it is moving, simply it indicates the changes on the surface, okay, on the dial with the pointer. Okay, so you can compare from one end to another end the variations in the work part. Okay, by measuring the heights, by taking those difference, you can compare the two heights with the help of dial indicator. Okay, all right. Determine the errors in geometrical form, such as volatility, roundness, and taper. Roundness can also be checked with the dial indicator. Suppose if you place the tip of the plunger on the work part, okay, cylindrical work part, and if you rotate the work part, that is a cylinder part, this complete tip comes in contact with the entire circumference of the work part. When it is touching entire circumference, simply it shows the variation, okay, on the surface. Likewise, it is used for checking the roundness. Okay, well, next. For taking accurate measurement of deformation, it is also used for taking accurate measurement of deformation, such as in tension and compression. If you want to measure the deformation, these, okay, dial indicators are used. Okay, next, coming to fourth application, it is also meant for determining positional errors of surfaces, such as parallelism, squareness, and alignment. We already discussed parallelism, squareness, flatness in case of okay, vernier calipers, vernier calipers. Okay, so that parallelism, squareness, and alignment, flatness can also be checked with this dial indicators, right? This parallelism and squareness plays very important role, okay, in the reading given by the vernier calipers and micrometers. Therefore, in this case, these dial indicators play very important role, okay, for the working of other instruments, that is vernier calipers like that. Okay. Check the alignment of lead centers. These dial indicators can also be used to check the alignment of lead centers by using suitable accurate bar between the centers. Okay. And also these dial indicators are used to check trueness of milling machine arbors, and to check the parallelism of shaper arm with the table circle or vice. Okay. So number of applications are there. They can be used to compare the heights and distances. They are used to find the errors in geometrical form or roundness or reality, or they are used for inspection and compression. Sorry, they are information in intention and compression, and also used for identifying and determining the positional errors of surfaces, just like parallelism, squareness, and alignment, and also used for checking of alignment of lathe centers, and for determining trueness of milling machine arbors, and to check parallelism of shaper arm. So number of applications are there. Okay, that is the reason why dial indicators are very important, play very important role, okay, in the complete machine shop, right? Advantages. What are the advantages of dial indicators? If you go for the advantages, the first advantage, dial indicator is the most flawless tool in taking linear measurements. Okay, while taking linear measurements, it is flawless. Okay, without having any defect and variation, it gives accurate measurements, well, linear measurements. Okay, next, second one, dial indicators are also be used to measure several deviations by aligning with some other attachments. Okay. With other attachments, it can be used to measure deviations. Suppose if you want to measure the angle, okay, this is used, dial indicator is used in conjunction with the sine bar. Okay. So dial indicators are also be used to measure several deviations by aligning with some other attachments. Next, due to small tolerances, the size of the tool is very compact, and thus it can be used seamlessly in mass production. Okay, because of compactness, okay, and a small tolerance, it can be used in mass production. Can be used in mass production. Mass production means it increases the interchangeability. Always you have to check the dimensions while manufacturing the components. So while manufacturing the components itself, these dial indicators are simply used to check the dimensions in order to produce accurate components, right? Out of roundness, the amount of taper can also be measured efficiently by dial indicators. Okay, the tool is very efficient to assure the quality of workpiece. Very efficient tool. This one is measuring instrument. Dial indicator is also useful in dimension control. Dimension, right. How it is useful in dimension control? Simply by checking number of times while manufacturing an object, always going to check the dimensions. Okay, simply controlling the dimension within the limits. Right. Next, disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? Okay, exist with the dial indicators. The precision of dial indicators often lost due to the vibration of machinery. Okay, while working, the machineries are subjected to vibrations. Okay, mostly these vibrations are nullified with the help of isolation. Okay, perfect grounding like that. Even though there exist vibrations, those vibrations simply varies the reading given by the dial indicators or precision of the dial indicators. The precision of dial indicators often lost due to vibration of machinery. Next, second disadvantage. Another crucial disadvantage of the tool is the parallax effect. Okay, here in this case, the dial indicators are designed based on line measurement. Based on line measurement is always line measurement is having parallax as error. So the reading taken consists of parallax as error. Another crucial disadvantage of the tool is the parallax effect. Why? Because this complete design of dial indicator is based on line measurement, right? Line standard. Space, third disadvantage. Space constraints can lead to installing the total tool at an angle due to which precision of measuring device is lost. Because of lack of space, these are installed at some inclination. Okay, when they are placed at some inclination, the precision of measuring device, that is dial indicator, is lost because of alignment at some angle. Okay, because of lack of space, those are to be aligned at some angle in order to measure, automatically its precision lost. Right. These are the three disadvantages. Okay. The students, here one video regarding this plunger type dial indicator is there. Okay. Animation video. I am playing this video. Please observe carefully each and every point working of this complete dial indicator.
Dial indicator. Dial indicator is a very important comparator used in mechanical industrial measurement applications. In this video, we'll learn about dial indicator. This video will cover the following. 1. Working principle of dial indicator. 2. Its construction. 3. Working. 4. Applications. 5. Advantages and disadvantages. If you are new to ADTW, click on the subscribe button below and turn on the notification to get all the updates. Let's start. Working principle of dial indicator. It operates on the principle that a very slight upward pressure on the spindle or plunger at the contact is indicated on the face of the dial by the pointer. Dial indicators consists of a body with a round graduated dial and a contact point, which is connected with the gear train, so that pointer on the dial face magnifies and indicates the amount of plunger movement. Dial gauge consists of following parts: circular dial body, pointer or indicating hand, round graduated dial, revolution counter, bezel clamp, dust cap.
We observe here that it can be rotated to the required position in order to set the pointer to 0 position. Okay, while setting the dial indicator initial setup, okay, we have to rotate this bezel in order to set the pointer position. We will see in the laboratory, metrology lab. Okay, for that reason, bezel is provided.
Stem, plunger, which is subdivided into spindle and contact point. In the side view, we can see other parts: crystal, back, mounting lug. After opening the body of dial indicator, we can see internal parts. And those are rack guide, gear train, hairspring.
Okay, rotate about its own axis. So rotation of a plunger about its own axis is prevented by this rack guide. Okay, listen.
See the working of dial indicator. Let us first understand how the magnification is achieved with the help of gears. Consider two gears A and B. The gears are mashing with each other. The number of teeth on the gear A is less compared to gear B. The smaller gear A is called pinion. When we rotate pinion by 1 revolution, the gear B rotate through a small angle. This depends on the gear ratio. Now, suppose we rotated gear B by 1 full revolution. The number of revolution of pinion is more. With this basic understanding, now we can see how the magnification of the plunger is achieved in the dial gauge. To obtain the necessary high magnification ratio in this instrument, gear and pinion arrangement is used. By arranging the gear train in a manner similar to a clock movement, there is a plunger which is a perfect sliding fit in its own bearings. This carries a rack which accurately meshes with a pinion end. The rotation of the plunger about its own axis is prevented by a pin attached to it, which is located in a slot in a rack guide. In order to keep the plunger in an extended or normal position, a light coil spring is employed. A small movement of the contact point causes the rack to turn the pinion A with which it is meshed. A large gear B is attached to the same spindle as pinion A. The gear B is further meshed with a pinion C, which thus magnifies the movement of pinion A. Attached to the second pinion C is another gear. This magnification is further enlarged at the tip of pointer by an amount depending upon its length. In order to take up backlash, a light hairspring H is always fitted to the dial gauge gear trains by meshing a gear F to pinion E and attaching spring with gear F, also to prevent gear backlash. The gears are precision cut, and the movement assembly resembles that of high-grade watch. After final assembly, each dial gauge is thoroughly tested and checked and properly calibrated by either a calibrated micrometer head or by the use of slip gauges. If the pointer moves more than one revolution, a revolution counter is also incorporated, which will correctly indicate the number of revolutions made by the main pointer, and thus enable a complete reading to be made when the gauge is used for direct measurement. Also, we can rotate the round graduated scale to set the pointer to 0. In some dial indicators, 2 range pointers are given on the bezel, which are used to set the range. Applications of dial indicator. 1. Comparing 2 heights or distance between narrow limits. 2. To determine the errors in the geometrical form such as ovality, roundness, and taper. 3. For taking accurate measurements of deformation such as intention and compression. 4. To determine positional errors of surfaces such as parallelism, squareness, and alignment. 5. To check the alignment of lathe centers by using a suitable accurate bar between the centers. 6. To check the trueness of milling machine arbors, and to check the parallelism of shaper arm with table surface or vise. Advantages. 1. Dial indicator is the most flawless tool in taking linear measurements. 2. Moreover, dial indicators are also be used to measure several deviations by aligning with some other attachments. 3. Due to small tolerances, the size of the tool is very compact, and thus, it can be used seamlessly in mass production. 4. Out of roundness, the amount of taper can also be measured efficiently by dial indicators. 5. The tool is very efficient to assure the quality of a workpiece. 6. Dial indicator is also useful in dimension control. Disadvantages of dial gauge. 1. The precision of dial indicator is often lost due to the vibration of machinery. 2. Another crucial disadvantage of the tool is the parallax effect. 3. Space constraints can lead to installing the tool at an angle, due to which precision of measuring device is lost. Hope you have understood the dial indicator.
Okay. Dear students, now I'm unmuting you. You can unmute yourself and ask any question. Dear students, if you have any doubts, please ask me about the dial indicators. Very important. This one dial indicator is very important. Okay. Dear students, ask. If you have any doubts, please ask me. Unmute yourself and ask any doubt. 79 participants totally. 78 members are there. Not 5 Mallikarjun. A section 305 Mallikarjun. Ellie, are you there? Mallikarjun. And 19, Upendra, are you there? Upendra, 319. No one is responding. You can unmute yourself and okay, ask your doubts. Prakash, 323, are you there? 323. Anyone? If all of you has to respond. I am calling randomly in order to take the attendance. You have to respond. Otherwise, simply I will put a absence for you. 323, Prakash, are you there? Prakash. Three 321 Praveen Kumar. Okay. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself and simply respond. No one is responding. No one is there. Huh? Totally 79 participants are there. Please speak out. Please speak out. 330. 330.
Yes,
Who is
sir.
330? Yes, sir. Okay. Do you have any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, good. 346. 346. 301. 19 series 301. Tarun Kumar. Tarun Kumar, are you there? Tarun Kumar. Prakash, 323. Prakash. Not responding. 350, Venkat. 19 series 321, Dinesh. No one is responding. I hope you all understood about these dial indicators. Now, I'm going to close the session. In the next session, we are going to discuss about angular measurement, angular measuring devices. Okay, just like bevel protractors, sine bars, and all. Okay. Stay home and stay safe. Right. I'm closing the session.